Hello everyone, it's Noel. Welcome back. I do have to apologize in advance. My little brother graduated college this weekend, so he is back forever. So I apologize if you hear any noise. He will probably be getting up soon. So anyway, today we are doing another Christmas watercolor. Also, I apologize for not being made up in my beautiful usual self. I didn't feel like putting makeup on or doing my hair or really anything. So anyway, today we are going to be painting Christmas balls, and I do have two reference images, and here they are. Of course, they will be linked in the description box below, but here's the first one and here's the second one. So the reason I have two is because I didn't want to do green, because I was thinking that maybe I might want to put like pine tree branches in the background. I'm still unsure yet. I probably won't, just because that's extra work. But I am using watercolor pencils mostly today. So I'm using my Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, as well as some other brands, I think. Everything is in the description below, as usual. So just refer to that. So anyway, I decided that I was going to have a big ball in the background, a medium-sized ball in the foreground, and then a smaller ball in the background as well. And I'm thinking that I'm going to start with the silver ball. I do have metallic watercolor paints, but I didn't want to use them because I felt like that would be too showy, and I was going to utilize the marker paints like we did in the Christmas tree. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to take my lightest pencils of each color. Well, when I do the other balls, but I'm going to take the lightest pencil first and kind of go around and put in a layer of that, because that is going to help when we come up with our lighting situation. So I have a warm gray here. I'm using warm grays for this silver ball. I don't really know why, because I kind of want to use cooler grays when I do the little metal doohickey at the top of the ball. But anyway, how are you guys doing? Doing pretty good. Myself, I should say. Like I said, my little brother graduated college, so he is officially a college graduate. He graduated in psychology. We're all very, very proud of him. It's been a long 4 years for everybody. But I do have to admit, when he graduated, it was my first time actually going to his college town. And he really wasn't kidding. There really is nothing up there. He went about 2 hours up north from where we live. So the commute wasn't easy per se, but it wasn't like he went across the country. So anyway, not really making this very pretty. If this was like colored pencil, this would be an awful job, but since we are going to scrub with our brushes, it doesn't really matter how bad our coloring is. That's what I love about watercolor pencils. I can be as messy as I want. So I'm taking this size 8 brush here, size 8 round brush, and I'm just going to scrub in all that pigment. What I actually will do, though, to emphasize the highlights better, I am going to sponge the highlights. Also, I took 3 different sizes of circles, and what I did was I took the bottom, or no, rather the top of a red cup, one of these cups, to make the big one down here. I used the inside of a roll of masking tape for the medium-sized one. Then I used the bottom of the red cup to make the smallest circle. So you don't have to be perfect when you make circles. You can just, you know, cheat a little. There's nothing wrong with cheating. I mean, there is something wrong with cheating. Actually, I have a story about that, about cheating, how wrong it is. So when I was a kid, oh, you know, so many years ago, Let's see, I was in 3rd grade. So I've always been really awful at math. This is not lifting as well as I wanted to. Oh, there we go. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Can you see that better? I can't really tell. But back in 3rd grade, math was not my favorite subject, and we were learning our times tables. We had touched on times tables a little bit in 2nd grade, but nothing to the extent that we were getting in 3rd grade. I'm going to move on to another so that can dry a little bit. But basically, what I did was our teacher, she had us put up folders as like little, just as a way to keep from cheating. So we would have like a folder, you know, so that nobody could like look at somebody else's paper. Well, what she wasn't quite aware of until the very last minute, I guess, when she found out I was cheating, was that we used composition notebooks. And I don't know if they're made the same now, but on the backs of those composition notebooks, there is a times table. So, instead of doing the work and memorizing what 9 times 9 or all those fun things were, I cheated. I cheated by looking on the back of that notebook, but I always made sure it was in my folder. I always made sure it was in that folder that I would put up for our tests. So I did this for quite a while because I think every week we did a different set of times tables. Like one week we would do 6 times tables and the next week we would do 7. I forget what we were up to at this point. But somebody, and she was my friend. She was my friend. And, you know, while it stung at the time, she only meant well. She noticed that I was looking at something while we were taking our test. And so, at the top of her lungs, she says, "Noel's cheating!" And, of course, my heart sank. Because I was like, oh no, I've been caught. Now I can't get good grades. And it was really funny because I did own up to it. I did tell my mom. My mom's always had this policy that if you let her know, if you don't lie to her, basically, if you are honest with her up front, your punishment will be far, far less than it very well could be. So my brothers and I were always very good about being honest for the most part, because we knew that if we weren't, then our punishment was going to be a lot harsher. So I told her that night that yes, I did cheat on a test. So I guess she wrote a note to the teacher saying that she was aware that this was happening and that I was going to do better, I guess, on my exams. And I remember the next time I did take one of the math tests, that I was so proud to show my mom that I had gotten a C all on my own without cheating, because I always tried to get A's. I always tried to get like perfect scores on my exams. But you know, I don't even know why I did it. I just thought it was an interesting little tidbit there that I would even consider cheating. I have not cheated since then. I learned my lesson very much so that day. So I'm starting on this green bulb here, and I'm going to use a combination of yellows and browns. I actually saw digitally painting, that is, Drawing with Waffles, who is another art YouTuber that I like to pull ideas from on YouTube here. She drew a Wonder Woman picture recently, and she said that she gets a kind of a gold tone in digital painting by combining yellow, is it yellow? Maybe orange. She combines some tone, she combines some color with green to get like that kind of gradient. So I actually have something called green gold here, and I'm gonna see if I can get a similar effect because it very much looks, it has a green tinge to it. So I'm doing this gold back here. That's a lot of yellow. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I don't know if I should let these dry too much. But when you're working with watercolor pencils, it's a lot harder to plan this kind of stuff, because if you lay down wet pencil, or not wet pencil, if you lay down pencil on wet paper, it is going to take the texture of the paper, and it's going to be very difficult to scrub out, and that is quite a pain in the butt. So whenever I do my paintings, I try not to lay down any color on top of wet paper, because it's just awful unless you need that texture. Like say for like landscapes and stuff, it's a really great way to put texture in landscapes, like say for like rocks or trees, stuff like that. But when you're just laying down color just to get the color in, makes it very difficult in the long run. So our gray down here is dry, so we're going to go in with the next shade. I'm going to look at my reference image here. Okay, so I'm going for like this kind of three-toned lighting effect that they have in this picture. That dark thing in the middle is probably the camera, but the rest are probably stage lights or something, whatever they use to light the subjects. So anyway, I'm going to go in with that. So this is my mid-tone that I'm using, my gray mid-tone. And I'm going in lightly right now because my paper is still a little damp. And I'm just going to kind of get that pattern that I see. And you can play around with your lighting. Your lighting doesn't have to be like my lighting. If you want to do a simpler lighting, you know, that's all you. If you want to do more dramatic lighting, then by all means. But today, I wanted to break out the watercolor pencil since it's been a while. I really did. I do have the little pods thing out here, just in case. But I don't think I'm going to be using it. Maybe for like little touches here and there if I need it, but I really wanted to try a watercolor pencil painting today. Won't take that shading too far down. So guys, this year has been absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that it's going to be 2018. I'm still trying to get over the fact that it was 2017. But it's going to be 2018. I don't know if I'm ready. But I do have some art goals. I do have a video that I want to put out, an art goals video. We'll see if that happens. I really would like to put that out, because I do have a lot of goals for next year. Of course, I would love to expand the channel a little bit more. One of my goals, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen because of personal plans in my life as far as moving or living in an area that's not here. But I would love to be able to put out art prints that I've made for my own home. And stickers. Like during Black Friday, the Cricut cutter was on sale like everywhere. And I really wanted to buy it, but I didn't. Because I'm the kind of person who overthinks things. So I have that put in there. We're gonna wet it and see what we get. But anyway, I just kept thinking and thinking, like, it would be a worthwhile investment, since I do want to put things out that require cutting. But at least at the time of this video, with the possibility of moving and just space in general, it's probably not something that I wanted to swing. But if the opportunity does come up that I am able to do something like that. I would love to be able to. I hope you guys are able to hear me, because I was editing this video, not this video. I was editing last week's video, and I noticed that the audio was a little bit strained. So while I was video editing, I tried to edit the audio so that it was a little louder. So today I am trying to speak into the microphone here. I have a microphone right here in the webcam, but I wasn't a fan of the quality of the audio. My blue Snowball has pretty good audio, but you have to talk like right into it, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Do I want to use that? No. I'm actually going to take my wet paintbrush and I'm going to scrub out these harsher edges that popped up for no reason. And then I'll probably take my sponge and try to sponge the lines of that. You'll see what I'm talking about. Sometimes you get these harsh lines when you do watercolor. Watercolor! Don't know what accent that was supposed to be. There we go. Pencils especially, because they just like to wander all over the place. They're not fun like watercolor, like regular watercolor. But I do like them. I do like them. They are convenient for the most part. Okay, how are we looking? Looks okay. We can work with that. We're going to move on to the red one again. And I'm going to take, not that one, this mid-tone here. This is from, you can see how much this is loved. This is from my Mondeluz watercolor pencil set. Just can't talk. Anyway, we're going to place that in the areas that there might be some shadow. So, are you guys ready for Christmas? Because every year I say I'm not ready for Christmas. And then it comes. And then after Christmas is done, then I'm actually ready for Christmas. Like, I'm never ready until like after it's done. Like, some people hype Christmas for months. Some people hype Christmas right after Halloween. And I'm not a Christmas person. I don't know what it is, but I just don't really care for Christmas like other people do. Like, not in the sense that, you know, it's not like it's not a great holiday or anything, but it's not something I hype. Like, some people hype Halloween. Nobody hypes Thanksgiving. But I just never, the only holiday, and I think I've said this a million times before, Valentine's Day is my holiday. I don't know why, because in my current dating situation, it is impossible to celebrate Valentine's Day the right way, in my opinion. But I've always loved Valentine's Day. We did talk about Valentine's Day last time, because I love Valentine's Day. I could talk about Valentine's Day till I'm blue in the face. So this is a more blue red that I'm using. The red that I used before was a bit of a warmer toned red. It had a little bit of orange in it. I might want to wet my paper just a little bit more so I don't get those crazy edges. That's a pain in the butt. And that's what the sponge is for. That lovely sponge. And the beauty of watercolor pencils is that you can lay down all of your tones and your colors and then wet your paper. You can do what I'm doing right now and working a layer at a time, wetting each layer as you go. There's probably other ways you can use them. Sometimes when I go outside to paint, I use my pencils as kind of like a palette, in that I will take it, I'll show you. I've actually done it in several videos before, but let me grab this red before it gets all over the place. It's really liking to wander. It's wandering. But we're getting somewhere. Getting those darker tones in. I love these sponges. This one, the one that I'm using right now, is like trashed. I have this other sponge that is much nicer. But the thing that I hate about these sponges is that they are natural sponges from the ocean. And I don't know what it is, but sometimes I would get like little pieces of glass stuck in my fingers. And it's very painful. So be careful when you're using those. I'm actually going to take a smaller brush and just get these edges. But maybe it'll look like it's glowing. A glowing Christmas ball. There's nothing wrong with trying to improvise as you go. I don't know what's going on with this. All these edges are just appearing out of nowhere. And, you know, that's fine. We can work with it. We can work with it. These sponges act like erasers. It's awesome. There we go. Okay. We're going to move on to that gold. That looks very watercolory, which is the effect we're going for. I might actually have to go in again with that mid-tone because I didn't lay it down as heavily as I could have because I was afraid of that textury effect that I don't want. So I am taking dark chrome yellow, and it does look a lot more orange than yellow, but we're going to take that. And sometimes you'll find that a particular, like this ball up here has like a bunch of colors that I'm using. This one has like a couple. This one has like almost none. So sometimes you'll find that the subject that you are coloring may have differing ranges of value. And it can be confusing sometimes. So how you can kind of make sure that you're getting the a nice range of values is to take a picture, if you can, or like my teacher did in college, take a photocopy of it, a black and white or grayscale photocopy. I think grayscale for sure. Just take a picture of it and convert it to grayscale, or photocopy it and convert it to grayscale. That way you can see like the range of tones that you have to see if you need to add more tones. It's very hard in traditional media to be sure of that, but there are ways around it. Like with digital media, it's so much easier to convert your image to grayscale and then see where your picture is lacking as far as value. And that's great. That's awesome. Of course, that's something I really need to, that's something I need to brush up on more, is checking my values, making sure that I have a wide range. But at the same time, I get so carried away with that too, because I'm never sure when to stop. At what point do I stop putting in the extra values? I just never know. I'm going to clean this big brush, but I'm going to use the little brush. That worked pretty good the last time. I'm just going to scrub out those edges so they're not as prominent. I don't like harsh edges. I like fuzzy edges. But sometimes you need harsh edges. I can't think of an example right now, but sometimes you need them. Depends on what you're painting. Here we go. But today is not that day. Pretty. Okay. So this gray one, I'm probably gonna combine my two tones. Where are my tones? I don't know. There you are. Sometimes I put pencils where they don't belong. Okay, so I'm taking my mid-tone and my dark tone, and I'm just going to try and play around with how I want this to look. Because it is a silver ball, but it doesn't have to be like really dark. Certain parts of it should be a little bit darker, but not a whole lot of it. So I'm going to play around with that. See what we get. I didn't want to paint today again, guys. Big surprise. Never wanting to paint. Sometimes I just don't want to. But sometimes it's fun to push through. See what you make. You just gotta. Yeah, this might get a weird texture because it's a little damp, but we can still work with it. I just don't feel like painting sometimes. But it's always fun to try and push myself. I told myself, well, it's Tuesday, I should probably get a video up for tomorrow. And I will, you know. But sometimes I just don't feel like doing anything. But I feel like Christmas brings a lot of creativity out. Because there's so much you can paint. There's so much you can think of to color, or like there's a lot of subject matter during holiday seasons that you can play with. So I'm adding this darker gray. This is a warm gray. Is that 6? Yes, warm gray 6. And I'm just going to play around with where I want these shadows at. So I want it definitely on the edge here. That part is really dark. And then underneath the Christmas ball, right here, the red one. Just a little bit, because we want to show that that ball's in front. And then maybe a little bit in the middle here. We'll see how it turns out. Okay. I might need a coffee break here after I'm done putting another layer on top of the balls. Just need some coffee. I made gingerbread syrup, and yes, it's as good as it sounds. But I've never had, excuse me, a Starbucks gingerbread latte before. So I don't really have a comparison with which I can compare my amazing syrup to. So, I'm thinking I might need to go to Starbucks at some point. But at the same time, I made a whole jar of gingerbread syrup. Now I say syrup. Some people say syrup. What do you say? I say, either way, it's good. Why did I put my sponge in there? I put my sponge in the wrong cup. That's funny. Okay, so I'm trying not to mix the dark tone here too much with the mid-tone. I really just want it on the edge there. And so far it looks like I succeeded, but now it looks like there's a ring there. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover from this. Just keep trying. You can do this. I might have to pull the small brush out actually, just so I can pull that down better. Okay, well I'm going to work over here because it's starting to get that ring that I hate. Those harsh edges that I hate. Dab, dab, dab. Boop, boop. There we go. Okay. It's looking a little naked down here, so I'm just going to bring some color down and around. Okay. I'm going to really quick get the shadow in and then try and see if I can save the edge there. I probably shouldn't have combined the colors, but I did. I'm gonna have to go in again definitely with the darker tone because it's getting a little muddy. It's getting a little hard to tell where stuff is supposed to be. Alright. Got the small brush. Gonna try and save this area here. Might take the sponge because it's just getting a little nuts. Taking the harder one though. If I add more, I can definitely save that, but I gotta wait until it's dry. Ugh, gotta play the waiting game all the time. Don't you just want to finish your project like right then and there? Sometimes I get to a point where I just want to see the end. Just want to see how it turns out. Where did all my hard work take me? And some people say it's not about the end, it's about the journey. And I'm like, the journey's not worth it. The journey is not worth it. Depends though. Of course I'm just being silly. Depends. Like, I guess it's like once you get to that end goal, there's really not much else you can do. Except, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm taking a dark red. Sometimes you just babble. I don't know what I'm talking about. Taking a dark red. This red has a little bit of purple and almost brown in it. So it's going to be interesting to see what color I'm going to get from this. Just putting that in there where I think it might go. Okay. Let's try this out. I'm going to use a small brush though. Small brush might be good. Maybe. Maybe for the edge. There we go. I think this is one of my favorite reds to use. I like dark reds. It can be so pretty. And it's kind of misleading when you put it down at first until you wet it, because it looks so brown and you're like, ooh, I've made a horrible mistake. But then once you play with it, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I do love watercolor. You can have so much fun. So many people, I love the very painterly watercolor. That's something I definitely have a goal to strive to, is to be a little bit more painterly. And when my college professor used that a lot during lessons, I never knew what she was talking about. I was like, what the heck does that even mean? I felt so out of place in classes. Not because I was like older, but because I felt like, I mean, it was like a drawing 101 class. But some of the terminology, I had no idea what she was talking about, and I felt really dumb. Because I was like, because she didn't really expand on any of the terminology. She just, it was almost like she assumed that we were supposed to know what she was talking about right off the bat. And that was kind of annoying. There we go. That looks nice. It's definitely looking kinda sketchy. Kinda like I need to add more layers. And we will. But like I said, I do need to take a break. So I'm going to do the gold ball. And here's where we're going to use that green gold. So we are going to do that. How long have I been recording? Yeah, we've been recording for half an hour. Yeah, it's about time I take a break. So anyway, I'm going to put that green gold in here. I need to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh. Woo! Oh, and I banged into my desk. All right. Sometimes you just need to sneeze. And yes, I was being gross and I sneezed into my shirt. But you know what? Sorry. I'd rather sneeze on myself than into the air. So I'm adding this green gold in these areas here. And after my break, once this is a little bit more dry, I'm going to do what I said about the whole value thing, and I'm going to check my values, see where I can add. And I am going to be adding that ink, that white ink possibly, for highlighting. The white ink that I just love to use so much. But that won't come till the very, very end. There we go. I guess if I really wanted to, I could keep those like really harsh edges, but that's not something that I like. If that's something you like, keep them in. But that's not something that I like in my painting. I don't know why, I just don't like it. I'm going to take my sponge real quick. The Christmas tree is actually on the opposite paper of this side of this paper. It's up here, the Christmas tree from last week. How does that look? It looks okay. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to take a break. That's going to give the piece some time to dry. And then I can add some more layers to it. So I will see you guys in just a second. And we're back. Okay, so I just checked this in grayscale to check my values, and it's looking like the red is pretty much on the right track, but the gold and the silver baubles are going to need a little bit more help. So we are going to help them along here. Let me just clean up some dribbles on my desk. Okay, so I'm going to start with the gray one. And how do I want to do this? Let's check our reference image. No, not my game. I play Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I played a lot. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely gonna need to put a little bit more in there. I think, let me see. Let me look in my whatchamahoojits. Oh. Okay. Yes, I have this beautiful big old thing. I'm gonna pull out that pencil. I love this thing. I had been like wanting to buy this tin for like ever. And when I bought it this year, no, it was actually last year. I purchased it in December last year, but got it like the year, this year. So I'm taking this Warm Gray 5, which is a step up from the Warm Gray 4 I was using as my midtone. And I'm pressing a little bit harder. And see, now that this is dry, I'm more comfortable. I'm not afraid of getting that weird texture I talked about. Okay. So I can play around a little bit more. Still trying to focus on the shadow areas. There we go. So I took my break, had some coffee, and an apple, and some peanuts. One of my goals, like just in general for next year, is to be more fit. That has always been a goal. Like every year I always set the goal to, exercise more, eat better, get fitter. And I always strive to try, and then once it actually like by the end of the year, I've never actually got to my goal, which is a little unfortunate. But we'll try again. I definitely have a better, routine down this year. Actually, the last couple months, I've gotten a better routine down. Okay, I like how that looks. But now, I'm going to use the small one, at least for a little bit, just to get these outside details. But anyway, I have a better routine down. Do you guys have any goals that you make? Any resolutions that you make, and then, you know, you have to, like, you work around them and you find that you have to work a little bit harder than you realize to attain that goal? Because with me, when it comes to fitness at least, I tend to get, stress definitely plays a role in me straying from goals. And everybody's like, oh, you need to get a hold of your stress. And I try. But sometimes it's just, you know, you get these pitfalls and you just get overwhelmed. Don't really know what to do. Alright, I'm gonna dab. I might have to throw this sponge out. It's getting pretty bad. Okay, keep going. I'm going to use the big brush now, just to get this middle part. Ooh, I'm getting some weird bleeding over there on the side. Let me see if I can fix that. This little spidering over here. That's another thing too. I hate when it spiders out. So annoying. There's so many annoying things about watercolor, but it's all based on like how much water you lay down, how much pigment is down. It's like science. It's a science of its own. There we go. Get this side. I'm gonna switch brushes again. I don't know what I should do with this camera over here. It just kind of sits there. It's just kind of there. I don't know. You guys have any ideas with what I can do with that camera? Because right now, it's kind of just sitting there. It's not doing a whole lot. I'm going to bring this down, this color down here. And just kind of work on pushing that color a little bit. Scrubbing it. Okay. There. Looks nice. Oh, almost lost my big brush there. Almost fell off the table. Okay. That looks interesting. It's nice having the monitor, you know, I'm able to see how my progress is looking. Alright, I'm going to work up here a little bit because definitely was lacking quite a bit up there. I am going to go in with the green gold again. And I'm going to push a little bit harder to get more pigment out. And then I have brown ochre as my deep shade. I'm going to play around with that. I thought about doing patterned Christmas ornaments, but I kind of didn't feel like designing any patterns. So I figured, you know what? I could always work on shading and highlighting objects, because shading and highlighting faces, I find it has become a bit of a strength of mine this year, which is great because that has always been a problem for me. And I'm hoping to become better and better at it. Now, shading with markers at least has become easier. And oh my gosh, I remember when I brought those markers home. I was so intimidated. And now I feel pretty comfortable with them. Pretty comfortable. And that's kind of my goal, is just to become comfortable with certain art mediums. Certainly can't really become a master of all art mediums. Wouldn't that be something? But I definitely want to try things a lot more. And I notice a lot that people tend to stick to, at least that I've noticed, that a lot of, like, I want to say bigger artists, they stick to that one medium and they don't stray too far from it. Like, and nothing, like, absolutely nothing against these artists either. It's just something I've noticed in the last year, that these artists kind of stick to one medium and that's it. Now, I don't know if that's just their portrayal on social media, or if in reality, like, they do spend time practicing other art media in their spare time or what have you. But artists like Sakimi-chan, who does hyper-realistic digital art, like, I've only ever seen her do digital art. And she has a very specific style, which is like, and I actually came up with a script for a somewhat controversial video about how artists tend to stick to, like, one style. Like, bigger artists tend to stick to the style that is, you know, that makes them known, that they're comfortable with, that essentially makes them money, I guess is what I'm trying to say without being too ignorant. But Sakimi-chan, she is, like, very well known for her art style, and she doesn't seem to stray too much from it. But when I've looked through her Instagram, and I'm not trying to sound like rude, or because I'm not the world's best artist, but it's just something I've noticed, that is she has a lot of her fan art, like, I feel like it suffers from same face syndrome. Whereas, like, if you go through her Instagram, you'll notice that a lot of her characters have very similar, like, her facial structure is very similar. Like, you could copy and paste one character's face onto another character's face and it wouldn't change. Like, I don't know. Just check it out, see what you think. You might disagree with me, you might agree with me, but I just feel like that's just something I've noticed. And it just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like, excuse me, if just she's so comfortable with her style of digital painting. You know, like I said, it does make her money. So why stray too far from what's bringing the dough in? But like I said, I'm not trying to be ignorant or critical. It's just something I've observed. So anyway, I'm going to try and add another layer to this red bauble here. Oh, what do we want to do? I feel like it just needs more depth. It needs more pop. So I'm going to go in with the dark red again. But I'm going to go hard. I might add some other colors, but I'll see where I'm at after these are dry. I had to sneeze again. Oh no. Whew. Oh, goodness. I swear I don't have allergies or anything. Here we go. Get that in there. Oh, I just love coloring. So I've been working on a commission, and that's been taking up a lot of my time because I am drawing characters who, you know, at first I was like, oh yeah, I can draw them. I can draw those characters. And then when I actually started the project, I was like, oh, what have I done? I'm not going to give any details away because I don't know what the client's intentions are for the drawing. Like, nothing bad, but I don't know what they're doing with it. Like if it's a gift or something. But, where was I going with this? Now I have to get a tissue. But anyway, I took this job, and then I was like, oh no, it's a lot more detailed than I thought. Alright, once I get this layer down, I desperately have to get a tissue. Ooh, I need to make sure that layer's really blended here. Oh no, hurry! Hurry! Getting harsh edges. That is not my intention. Uh-oh. That's not good. I really don't like harsh edges. And this one, I don't want that to stand out. Come on, you can do it. Blend, blend, blend. I might have to redo this section. It's like I'm working against the clock. Which you kind of are when you work with watercolor. It's that drying time. The dreaded drawing time. Just gonna rework this. I might have to let this sit again, just so I can add another layer without getting that texture effect. I gotta sponge this as well. There we go. Might drag it a little bit. Drag it down here. And don't feel like your painting has to look anything like mine. You don't have to do the same colors. If you don't like green, yellow, or not green. If you don't like red, silver, and gold, you can always do different colors for your Christmas balls. You can make patterned Christmas balls. But for today, I wanted to do something simple. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Red is always one of those ones that can be a little bit difficult to work with, because it loves to spread. And I feel like it's also the more pigmented of colors. How are we looking? Eh, it doesn't look too bad. I might, let me look at my reference. Looking at the reference image, I might bring that down a little bit. I don't want too much highlight. Looks cool. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna let these dry again. I'm gonna fix my nose, and then hopefully we'll be at that point where we can start adding other elements to our drawing. And we're back. And I got a couple more darker tones to put in so I can really make those shadows pop more. Also, my little brother is awake, so if you hear any crazy noises, that's because he's getting ready to go to the gym. So anyway, I think I'll start with the silver ball. I got out dark sepia. I was going to say Payne's Gray, but it is not Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a little bit more bluer than I wanted this. So I got out dark sepia, and I'm going to use this for the darker shadow tones, as well as with the warm gray 6. So I'm going to put the warm gray 6 in first, in all those areas that we've been working towards. I think you can hear him walking now. He just got out of the shower. So I'm going to work this in. And I really want this dark sepia tone in more towards this area as well as this area over here. So that's where I'm going to place it. But we're working with the 6 right now, I think, right? Yes. Oh, so many times I've actually messed up what color as I was laying down. Probably too many times to count. Okay. I'm just going to drag it down. And now I'm going to color that in. I got new water too. For once, I actually remembered to get clean water. Okay. So I'm just gonna start this. Probably should have used my other brush, but we'll see how well I can work with this one. Sometimes I just don't know. There we go. Another way to like try and get those harsh edges as you are working is to kind of lay your brush a little flat when you're working, and then the clean edge will actually help smooth that out. But you have to be careful if your brush already has like pigment on it. You have to be careful. It doesn't always work. You might actually smear color. Okay, so that actually fuzzed out really good. Except, you know, when you're trying to get shadows that are... Ugh, just bang myself in the face. There we go. I actually started watching a show on Netflix called Grace and Frankie. I just thought it would be something different. Something different to watch. Because I like to watch a whole wide range of different shows and genres. I don't like to just stick to one thing. I get bored really easily. Like, incredibly easily. And that's probably why I'm not very, like, consistent in the ways that some people are. I don't know if it's, like, ADD or what. But I just get bored really easily with things. That's why I like to play around with styles and different ways of doing things to keep it real, keep it different. There we go. Alright, I'm going to fuzz that out a little bit more. That's actually a little bit darker than I was anticipating, but that is okay. I am going to take the sponge, try and dab out those areas real quick. Alright. I'm going to kind of leave the bottom. I might actually want to put a little bit more in the bottom. Oh yeah, I did want to show you guys what I was talking about earlier. When I go outside, sometimes I will actually use my watercolor pencils in this way to lay color down. Makes it really convenient. That way you're just working with the already wet medium. Okay. There we go. I'm hoping when I get to that dark sepia that it'll help deepen this a little bit more. I'm already getting a lot of lift that I don't want. I hate when it lifts. Just stay put, color. I'm gonna dab out some of that color. right. There we go. That looks okay. It's not perfect. Is anything ever perfect? Let's do the red one. I got out Caput Mortem Violet. I do not know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that is how I have said it. And this is going to be the darkest tone. I wanted something that kind of played around with the darker parts. Uh-oh. Just noticed that part of my paper was wet there. I was thinking of adding just straight up purple, or even possibly blue to give the shade, but I thought this was a good substitute. We'll see how it looks. The floorboards in this house are especially squeaky, as you can hear. The kitchen is right above my head. It's also the noisiest part of the house. Alright. Let's put this color in. There we go. I did tell my little brother I was filming. But I don't think he knows that I'm filming right now. I could text him and tell him to keep the noise down a little, but I'm hoping he leaves here in a little bit. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, that got a little intense there. What else did I want to talk to you guys about today? I actually had a post-it note with some topics on it. But sometimes when I actually paint, I kind of just want to focus on that. I'm actually going to drag this color down a little. Have it meet in the middle. There we go. Blend out those edges again. I feel like this is taking a lot longer than it should. Oh goodness, I hope he leaves soon. The floorboards upstairs really aggravate me a lot. Makes it really hard to work when people are home. When I'm not talking to an audience, I usually have my headphones in. Not that I'm talking to an audience. But you might be watching. Somebody out there is watching. There we go. Christmas ball. I feel like I made it a bit too light down here on all of the balls. So I'm going to add a little bit more color to them. Okay. But I'm going to add it the way that I showed you. Just, whoa, that is very pink. There we go. Just add it that way. There we go. Excuse me, I just burped. Add some of this. There we go. Oh, what lies ahead for the new year? I don't know. Oh, what other goals do I have? I would really like to be able to actually have more, ooh, what am I saying? I would like more participation with my audience. I just really like to, I like to talk to people, and I like to experience what others, you know, have to offer. I get a little lonely sometimes, guys. You know what? Instead of penciling it in, I'm just going to add the dark sepia this way. That way I can hurry up and speed this process up. Just going to be really, just add this very lightly. Sometimes I like to work with pencils in this way, because then you don't have to scrub constantly. Because then you're basically working the medium like watercolor at this point. There we go. Really want this line to be very... Uh-oh, I'm starting to get some bleed. And you know what? That kind of... You know, we can work with that because it can look like the ball is getting some reflections off of the one above it. And there is nothing wrong with that. There. My page is starting to bubble a little. Okay. I like how that looks. I do want to add a little bit more to the middle, but only to the middle. Okay. Someone's gonna be like, your shading is weird. Well, I'm not perfect. And I don't aim to be perfect. I do want to add a little bit more down here. I'm going to take warm gray 4 and just put that in. I think my brush is holding on to some of that red. There we go. There. Okay. Looks all right by me. Gonna work on that gold one. The gold one has been neglected. I did pull out olive green yellowish and Van Dyke brown, but I still haven't put the ochre in. Oh, yeah. Let's do that in a while. Let's see, the ochre. See, I'm at this point now. Do I want to pencil it in or do I want to brush it in? And kind of at this point, you know what? Let's pencil it in. We'll pencil in the brown ochre. And then maybe we'll brush in the darker colors and see what we get. I think my little brother left or is in the process of leaving. I heard the door. There we go. Bring some of that color down. My desk always shakes when I work on projects. I don't know how to get it to stop. Does anybody have any ideas on how to get a shaky desk to stop shaking? Because that would be very helpful. Alright, here we go. Scrub in that brown ochre. There we are. It's always fun to think of how metallics, like what colors are all in different metallic colors. I remember when I was doing, oh, what's his name? Koh-I-Noor from Miraculous. His baton is silver. And I just remember not knowing where to even begin coloring that. So I actually took the silver that's in this Faber-Castell set and I just kind of put that in. I was like, I'm not even going to try and shade this. And it didn't look good at all. It was pretty bad. It did not look good. So that was another thing I really wanted to play around with, was how to shade metallic objects. And I think there was, oh, I did it digitally actually. I was, the commission that I'm working on does have some metallic objects in it. And I tried my hand at doing that. And the result is pretty good. I'm hoping the client likes it. The piece isn't finished. And I'm actually going to work on it in a little bit here after I'm done editing this video. Let's see. I do want to add a little bit more to the bottom of this. So I'm going to take that dark chrome yellow, but I'm going to brush it. I'm going to brush it in. And then I'm going to see how I feel about these other colors that I chose. Because I'm not quite sure. I hope that's not too orange. That looks a little bit... How's it look? That doesn't look too bad. Okay. Alright, so I have this olive green. I'm gonna try to put it on the very edges of the bubble. But I do want to sponge up this excess water. There. At least a little bit. It's a little shiny. Okay. Gonna see how that works. Yeah, let's maybe keep it on the outside edges. Ooh, my wet hand got on the Christmas tree from last week. Can't really tell because there's a glare there. It doesn't look bad though, but I definitely want to keep the green to a minimum. Don't want to put it too much. So I might put a little bit in the middle and then that's probably about it. Just kind of swirl it in there. There we go. It's interesting what color combinations kind of make a difference in shading. Things you wouldn't have thought of. There we go. As much as I could keep going, I kind of don't feel like doing this anymore. I just don't want to work this anymore. I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done at this point. So what I'm gonna do, now you could definitely keep going and add more, but we've already been filming for so long and I know this is going to be so wonderful to edit. So if you have the time and you would like to add more shades and values and tones and all that fun stuff, but I'm going to call it quits here because I do want to put some decorations on with the paint markers. So I'm going to stop the recording and I will see you in a bit when this is dry. And we're back. So I decided before I put the paint on, I just want to quickly outline these Christmas balls because some of the edges did get a little bit fuzzy. So I'm just taking regular old colored pencils that you could pretty much find anywhere. I don't know why people give such a bad rap to like rose art and Crayola. Nobody wants to use them. And no, they're not really professional quality, but they're not horrible pencils. At least I don't find them to be horrible. Most of my childhood art was done in Crayola or rose art. But there certainly are differences. I would love to get Prismacolors or... No! What is it? Is it Caran d'Ache? Caran d'Ache? I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm not quite sure. But those colored pencils look like they are really fun to use. As you can see, I use a lot of reds. Or at least I used to. A lot of my red pencils, watercolor and colored, are like teeny tiny. Just really quickly going around the edges. I don't think this will make that much of a difference, but I just wanted something a little bit more solidified for the outline. And I might add a background off camera later, but I'm not really quite sure yet. Okay, there we go. And this ball looks a little bit lopsided. All of them kind of did. So anyway, I'm going to take this paint marker here, the same paint marker I used in the Christmas one, and I am just going to, oh, I haven't used this silver yet. Where's my silver that I have used? Here, I was all ready. There we go. I think it's back there. Okay. This is the one I used. Okay, yes. And it's ready to go. So I'm just going to put in the metal parts. And yes, I could have done fun shading and things like that, but I'm just at the point in this project where I just kind of want it to be done. So I'm just going to put in those metallic features. And I also want to put in some decoration on the balls themselves, just like in our reference image. If I will pull it up again, yeah. So you can also use glue and glitter. That's all up to you. But it, you know, whatever. So I'm just gonna make some fun little swirls on here. And this is the part where you get to have all sorts of fun and let loose. And kind of play around with how you want your Christmas ball to look. I don't really quite know what I want my Christmas ball to look like. Oh yeah, you can put in dots. You can have all sorts of fun. You can make snowflakes. You can make anything your heart desires, but I'm pretty simple. Ooh, I could make a swirl on that one. I might make a swirl on that one. And have fun with it. Have fun. There we go. That looks cool. I don't like I said, just don't think about it. Don't think too hard about your artwork. I feel like that takes the fun out of it. That looks pretty. Okay, this one I want to make some sort of a swirl. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do that. There we go. That's something. Ooh, that one could have been gold. That's okay. Need a little bit more paint. It needs a little bit more. We'll go up. There. Okay. It's something. I think I like that one the best. Let's see, what else could I add? Add some more swirly things. Okay. I do love these. I like shiny things. Shiny things are fun. Okay, is there anything else I could possibly add to this? I could put in a background. Oh, no. Wait. I saw one painting. Oh, that's the wrong one. One painting put dots as like the chain. Or, you know, something that keeps them hanging. There. It's a shame that this one I put up so far because I can't get as much detail in there, but I still like it. Okay. My ink, the ink that we all love to hate. Gonna shake it up. And I'm gonna put some white somewhere. Here we go. Alright, I'm just gonna use what's in the cap for right now. Where do I want to put some highlights? I kind of want to stick to where the highlights are. Wow, that is not showing up for some reason or another. There we go. There. Yeah, I really hate this stuff. I do not like that stuff at all. Put a little one down here. I don't know if it's like the brush I'm using is too wet or if this pigment is just not pigmented. There we go. Or if I'm just laying it on too thinly. I will never know. There we go. Might put one on the other side. Oop. Ooh, I like that. Do some down here. That looks cool. I always like the idea of adding highlights and how it can kind of transform your image. It's pretty. Up here. There we go. That looks good enough for me. But like I said, if you want to do some sort of like pine leaves or some sort of a background so that doesn't look so plain, that is up to you. That is your painting. You do it how you please. But like I said, I might do something. I might do something with the kuretake bonsai. I might put some leaves back there, but I will do that much later. I really don't feel like painting anymore today, and that's okay. That's okay. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I totally appreciate it. And you know what? You could subscribe too and support me and the arts, this channel. You know, if you want to see more art stuff, that'd be cool. So, remember to draw what you love and love what you draw. And I'll talk to you guys next time. I didn't forget to sign. I just, you know, I didn't forget to sign it. It's right there. Yeah. So, bye.